Hello. Have you ever got hangry during your class lecture or while you're at work? Absolutely, that's one of the toughest times. But at the end of the day, it's not a big deal because students and workers can get to eat during their breaks and have some rest. So that would charge them with some energy to focus on what they're doing. If they're a student, they can focus on the next class, or if they're workers, they would focus on their job. So let me say that food is human fuel, and people cannot produce anything without food because that's the main life source. So, since food is our fuel, that got me to think about people whom cannot afford to pay for, for their own meals and for their fuel, let's say. I've found there are many food banks around the US. They're doing great job feeding poor people. And I've picked Feed in America, one of the food banks non-profit organization, because it focuses on many different or several different types of poor people that suffer from hunger. It focuses on children, senior adults, people who live in rural area, and some minority groups such as African Americans and Latinos. In 2020, with the all coronavirus pandemic, many people have lost their jobs, and the unemployment rate has been increasing. With that, the food insecurity would increase as well. So more people would be living under the poverty line. According to the website, there are more than 54 million people who suffer from poverty. 18 of them are children. 18 million of the 54 million are children. As you know, children are the adults of the future. They're the future doctors. They're the future mechanics. They're the future inventors, even. So we need to protect them so we can protect our future. Moving to senior people, there are more than 5.3 million older adults who have been not able to afford their meal prices because they they can't work anymore. They're above the age of 50, 60, some of them 70 or 80. So they need to be taken care of. They can't take care of the whole life because they got old and they can't work for long shifts or night shifts. With the most interesting type of people Feed in America serving were the people who live in the rural areas. Because I couldn't imagine that people who grow crops in their land and feed people miles away suffer from hunger and poverty. But true, life doesn't need only crops and that's it. Lives are more than farm and feeding animals and growing food. So many people who live in rural areas suffer from poverty because of that reason. They're a little farther from the supplies. At the same time, the prices for the crop they're growing still low. They live under the poverty line. By the way, the poverty line determined by the Feed in America is the people who earn less than $25,000 per year. Moving to the last two minority groups, which are African Americans and Latinos, uh, the website states that there are more than 10 counties of the US considered to be extremely poor, and 7 of these 10 counties are in Mississippi. The number of poor African Americans is as twice or more than the number of white non-Latino people. Moving to the Latino group, according to the website, there are around 21% of Latino people whom served by the organization, and 81% of them claim that they're only one person who work in the house. So here is like a little culture difference, because many children, one person's working, the other person's taking care. So that's where poverty starts. So donating your time, your money, or even your comments could be donated to Feed in America organization. That would help many different types of people, and that would help for the organization itself to serve more people and encourage the organization itself to reach more and more people. Since food is the human energy, I would recommend you to stop by Feed in America website and see what they're doing and how can you help. Qasim Shamri, that's my presentation. Thank you.